everybody to stand up, 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 up. All right, and we're gonna do a little singing and dancing. But first, follow me. Clap. Yeah, good. Okay, now it's gonna be a call and response. So just repeat after me, okay? Flee.
Flee.
Good, very good. Flee, fly.
Flee, fly.
Flee, fly, mosquito.
Flee, fly, mosquito.
Oh, no, no, no more mosquito.
Oh, no, more mosquito.
Itchy, itchy, scratchy, scratchy. Ooh, I got one down my backy. Woo, that's it. So, just so you know, that has nothing to do with my talk. Nothing at all. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can accelerate your growth and how you can go from being a novice about something all the way to thriving. And we're going to be doing that through my own personal story of how I went from writing my first line of code all the way to becoming the engineering manager of a high-performing software development team in less than 5 years. One thing to note is that this isn't a talk about going from IC to EM specifically, so it's about growing in any way, whether it's professional, personal, you name it. The other thing to note is that growth is different for everybody, so if you apply these things, it's not going to look like my own story, it'll look like your own, so just consider that while you're listening. Oh. Okay, so I do love audience participation. There will be a little bit throughout the talk, so you can join here now. It won't be active yet, but it will later, and the QR code will be available later on in the talk. So if you don't get it now, you'll get it later. And because we're talking about my story, I think it's important that you get to know me on a personal level. These would kind of be the 4 pillars of my personality, I think. So in terms of career, I am a front-end developer. I'm an Emberista, of course, why I'm here. I'm a podcast co-host of FizzBuzz, and as you all know, I'm also an engineering manager. I'm really into fitness. I love yoga. I'm a trained yoga instructor. I love to hike, being out in nature, and I also like doing CrossFit at my gym. I am an artist. I would specialize in painting, but I love doing yarn work, and then I dabble in pottery a little bit. And then my hobbies really vary from reading romance novels to traveling the world or breaking out into song at any given moment, which you've already seen today. Then I think just to show you why I am the right person to give this talk, I'm going to walk through my story a little bit. Now, we're going to go back a really long time ago when I was in school, and I was a C student, and I didn't really want to go to university, but I did, and as most 18-year-olds, I didn't know what career I wanted to do. So I chose to get my degree in something that I liked. So I chose visual arts and psychology. And then I graduated with my bachelor's, and I moved to Ireland basically right after. And I fell in love with this place. I think it was the weather. So that was great. And I really wanted to stay here and to experience more, but I still didn't really know what I wanted to do with my career. I was interested in programming, but had never really done it before. So in 2018, I decided to put all my eggs in one basket and get my master's degree in computer science in Dublin. And what's important about this is where my growth journey really began and where I wrote my first line of code. This was a really interesting course because it was a convergence course. We started from ground zero, worked our way up. So giving us the fundamentals of programming, bash scripts, all the way to how the internet works. And to be honest, I still don't think I really know how the internet works. And one of the things that they promised us was we'd get a job at the end of it. And I didn't really believe them, but thankfully they were right, and I did. And I landed my first job as a graduate engineer at Forest Salon Software. And if you haven't figured it out already, I'm still here and still kicking. And actually, so that first year was tough. It was 2020, COVID. We don't have to get into that too much more. But I kept the head down. I really wanted to get good at programming, learning about the business, that kind of thing. And that was my main focus for the whole year. And then a year later, I was promoted to mid-level engineer. And this gave me a newfound confidence that I really didn't have in myself at the time, and it allowed me to step out of my shell, which was really good. And during that time, after I was promoted, I started doing things like promoting diversity in tech. I started mentoring younger engineers, and even doing things like talks at Emberfest and blog posts and that kind of thing. And that really allowed me to stand out against, or just for myself, I suppose, and still focusing on my craft, learning Ember, getting better at being an engineer, amongst all that kind of stuff. So then, because of that, one of the many reasons why my manager approached me and asked me if I wanted to be an engineering manager. And I, to my own demise, say yes to everything. But I knew this was an opportunity that I could not refuse. So I trained up a lot, and then after a good amount of time, I became the engineering manager of the marketing team, which was the team that I was already on, which was great. And it's a year later, I'm still there, still kicking, just barely, but it's doing great. I'm delivering this talk, and I'm still growing constantly every single day. Why did I grow so fast? Why, as I said, there's different types of growth. You can be gradual, you can be rapid, and for me, it felt really fast. And some of the reasons why for me was I already felt really far behind. I started my degree quite late, and a lot of my colleagues who were my same age had 10+ years experience, and I just really wanted to catch up. I was really excited. Finally, I'm doing something that I really wanted to do, and I just had that momentum. Just in general, I have a growth mindset. I am a woman, and for a really long time, I believed that as a woman in the tech industry, I had to work harder or be better than my male colleagues. I think, thankfully, I was able to unlearn some of those biases. I don't think all women have that opportunity, but it was definitely something that pushed me forward. As well, as you've learned, I'm an immigrant in Ireland, and especially when I was a student, this put a lot of pressure on me because if I failed, I knew I would be on the first flight back to America, and we all know how America is right now, so I didn't want that. And then as well, my visa requires me to be able to do a job that no other citizen can do. So I had to prove it to myself, I had to prove it to my company, I had to prove it to the country that I was worthy of even being here. So that also put a lot of pressure on my growth. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I have really low self-esteem. I have negative self-talk that's always there, really hard to turn off, and that can be a driver. Sometimes things aren't always good enough. As I mentioned, COVID, work was my solace during this time, and it really allowed me not to have any distractions other than my job, basically. A good thing is I really loved code. I loved front-end development, and that was a huge motivator. I had found my thing, finally. And then I think we can all relate to this one is imposter syndrome, wrapping all this up in a nice little bow. So let's see if this works. Good. Now, I want to hear from all of you. What are your motivations to grow? So curiosity, I see. Betterment, ADHD, seeing progress. Anything else? Fun, yes, that's a big one. That's great. Financial security, very nice. I was just about to say, where's the money, honey? Like, good. Empowerment, own a farm, I like that. Invite me to your farm. Like, I'm dying to have chickens one day. I should have put that in my reason for growth, have chickens. Perfectionism, yes. So I think here it's really important to understand what are your reasons for growing, and that's going to help motivate you as you move forward, is understanding these reasons. Okay, so it's going to let me go next. All right. So how do you grow? And these are my 6 golden nuggets of growth. And we're going to go through all of these in the talk. So don't feel like you have to read everything on the slide. But just really quickly, it is luck, focus, cultivating mentorship, becoming indispensable, harnessing your strengths, and being resilient. So luck. This is the first one, and I just don't think it would be really fair for me to say that my growth wasn't, there wasn't luck that was a part of it, and I really want to make sure to call it out, because I was lucky about a lot of things. So I was lucky about my support system that I had at the college that I went to, and the course, it was really good. I was lucky that Forrest hired me. I was lucky that I got to work with JavaScript and Ember. I was lucky to have really great colleagues and really great mentors. And then, of course, I was lucky to be here with all of you. Emberfest is amazing. And I think while we're here today, to remember how lucky we all are and to make sure to take advantage of that. But as lucky as I was, I still worked my ass off. And it's worth noting that the luck that I had helped that 99% a lot more than if I didn't notice what I was lucky for and I took it for granted. So what I want you all to do is to take stock of the things that you are lucky for. I already gave you one thing, which was Emberfest. And really take advantage and don't take it for granted. So next is focus. And this is really important because focus takes a lot of discipline and determination. And when I was growing, especially in the beginning, I had only really focused on my career. So I just want you to think about that. Now, bear with me. I have a bit of an experiment. What I want you to do is only look at the screen and follow the instructions on the screen. Okay?
Nice.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
But
The correct answer is 16 passes. Did you spot the gorilla? For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events. And that's the monkey business illusion. Look.
So Hugh here spotted the gorilla. Yeah, a lot of you, have you seen the video before? Yeah, I know it's a pretty common video, but who here spotted Chewy? Hey, Chewy. This was another opportunity I just couldn't say no to. So what you just experienced here was selective attention. And essentially what selective attention is your brain's natural functioning to focus on something that's important and to ignore everything else. At least that was the video. Chewbacca was essentially distracting you from paying attention, which happens a lot. So my suggestion here when it comes to focus, there are so many things that you can focus on, so many distractions, and the key is to just have really small goals, and that's going to help you move forward, help you keep coming back to them, even amongst the fun distractions, like Chewy. So next is cultivating mentorship, and I think that this is one of the most important topics we're going to talk about today. And it's important because these mentors, they really help you grow. And I also suggest getting a lot of mentors, trying to get different perspectives on how they do things, how they work. And I have to say I'm really grateful. So many of my mentors are in here today. So thank you so much, officially, if I haven't thanked you already. But even more than that, I think that you really need to get yourself an Aoife. So who is Aoife? Aoife is my manager. She's my mentor, of course. And most importantly, she's my friend. And this picture is of us in Rome, 2021, after Emberfest. And as Anne had mentioned, she roped us in to doing a lightning talk. And that lightning talk was about pair programming. And one of the things that was really important about that talk is at the beginning of our pair programming sessions, we always had a bit of a chin wag for, 5-10 minutes. And that was so vital for our growth. But it was really important because it allowed us to build trust for one another. And then when we had trust for each other, it meant that we were investing in each other more. It meant that she could teach me more. It meant that we were empowered to do our job and had greater satisfaction. So that's why you need to get yourself someone like Aoife. Another aspect to mentorship is having feedback. And there's two types of really important feedback. The first is positive feedback, and I really like this one. And essentially what that is if Aoife comes to me and she says, Mo, you're doing a great job. The second type of feedback is constructive feedback. And I don't like this one as much, but it's even more important. And that's essentially when Aoife can come to me and she can say, Mo, here are a few things that you can improve on and why. One thing to note, though, is Aoife is just one person. She's not a mind reader. And if I want feedback, I don't even have to wait for her to come to me. I can go to her. And I can do that by creating a feedback loop. So what a feedback loop might look like is, oops, wrong one. First, I'd go to her and I'd gather feedback. I'd say, Aoife, I need help with something. Can you give me any feedback on how to improve? And then I act on the feedback and do it as soon as possible, because the sooner that you act, the sooner that you grow. And then you need to have some type of measure. What does good look like? And this is going to help you improve. And you can get this measure from your mentor. And then based on how you did, you can adjust your strategy. And then you go back again and continuously, iteratively go through your feedback loop until you're perfect. And then you don't have to go through the same thing over and over again. Growth, there's so many different things you're going to be learning, so you can just find new things to get feedback about. So I know I'm over here talking about how great Mentor is, but the stats don't lie. Mentorship is really important. So I'm going to read them actually out here. So both mentors and mentees were approximately 20% more likely to get a raise. 84% reported that mentoring relationships provided two-way inspiration for mentor and mentees. 87% of mentors and mentees feel empowered by their mentoring relationships and have developed greater confidence, just like myself and Aoife. And then this one's the kicker. Employees who received mentoring were promoted 5 times more often than people who didn't have mentors. 5 times. That's 500%. Crazy numbers right there. So if you're wondering how to get a mentor, I want to rewind back to that Emberfest talk when Anne asked us that night, and I was kind of into it, but I was really scared, and I looked over at Aoife and I said, please, can you do this talk with me? And she said she would, even though I know she didn't want to. And that's what you got to do. You have to be vulnerable. You have to ask for support, and that is what's going to help your relationship grow. So good. We already got some feedback over here on how mentors have impacted your own growth. So it has increased your confidence having a mentor. They've provided you guidance and direction. They've expanded your network and opportunities, and they've improved your skills and knowledge. I don't know. Oh, okay, now I see. The 1, 2, 2, 4. I thought that was a mistake I made and forgot to fix it. So I'm glad it was Slido and not me. So yeah, guidance and direction seems to be number 1. Confidence and motivation. Good. I'm pretty sure there was a 5th one there which said mentors didn't have any impact, so I'm glad that's not even up there at all, is the most important thing. So next thing is to become indispensable. That sounds kind of hard, doesn't it? And it can be, but it's not as challenging as I'm making it be. What this really means to me is doing your job to the best of your ability and just working hard. Now, I'm going to show you another video by a person who has way more street cred than I do, and he'll tell you all about it.
Just learn how to get stuff done.
Cool.
And what I mean by that is I've seen at every level people who are very good at describing problems, people who are very sophisticated in explaining why something went wrong or why something can't get fixed. But what I'm always looking for is, no matter how small the problem or how big it is, somebody who says, let me take care of that. If you project an attitude of whatever it is that's needed, I can handle it and I can do it, whoever's running that organization will notice, I promise. And which is why I think with young people, you don't always need to be so impatient asking for the plum assignment. A lot of times the best way to get attention is whatever is assigned to you, you are just nailing. You're killing it, because people will notice, oh, that's somebody who can get something done.
So, what was the thing that I was tasked to do to get done? It was the Book Now button. And let me tell you, it was so much more than just a button. It is an integration with Facebook and Instagram through Forest. A salon can add the button to their social pages, Facebook and Instagram, as you'd guess, through Forest. And when their clients click on the Book Now button, it'll navigate them to our online booking pages so they can book in for an appointment. Another aspect to this was not a lot of people in the company had experience with Facebook APIs at the time, and I thought it was a great strategy to stand out. So I was like, this is great. I'm a front-end engineer. I love buttons. So I said, cool, sign me up. I will be the Facebook girl. Boy, did I regret that. But what happened was, within the first 2 weeks, I had a working proof of concept. I demoed it to the whole company. Everybody was like, great. And then let's fast forward 6 months later. The whole team was now working on this button, and we still hadn't delivered it. And it sounds like it wasn't successful, but actually it was. And it was because, well, in the end, we did deliver it to clients, and this was, I think, our second most rated feature that they wanted. And then the important thing is I still showed up every day, I worked hard, and I learned a lot about Facebook and Facebook APIs. And then that experience really came in handy a year and a half later, because that was the reason why I was asked to be the lead front-end developer when we started developing the Ads Manager feature that used the Facebook APIs. And then that experience, working with Ads Manager, was a key contributor to my promotion being the engineering manager on the marketing team. And to this day, we're still working on Ads Manager. We're still using Facebook APIs. So it was the best thing I could have done just to buckle down and learn how it worked. And that was my task. So what I suggest to you is don't even worry about what someone gives you. Just take it and do a really good job. Try really hard, and people are going to notice, like Mr. President Obama said. So next is harnessing your strengths. And for this one, I think it was really important for me because I never really felt good at programming, and I never really felt technical. So I really tried to lean on things that I felt like I was good at. And because of this gave me a greater sense of self-confidence and satisfaction in my job. And a lot of the things that I was already good at really lent to the things that I was doing. So for instance, I got my degree in art, and when I combined that with coding, front-end development, and I love front-end development, and it was where I could thrive. Whereas if I worked in back-end development, my growth would have been a lot slower, and also don't get me started on databases. Then as well, my work with psychology and wanting to be a leader really lent itself to people management, and it allowed me to grow faster in that direction as well. Whereas because my technical skills, even though I was continuing to work on them, it would have actually probably taken me longer to become a senior engineer than it would have to be an engineering manager, just because my skills lent it that way. Now, I'm not suggesting to take any shortcuts or anything like that, but I think it's important that just take stock of what skills that you have, what makes you happy. Try to do a little bit more of those at work, and that's going to make you feel happier. It's going to make you feel more motivated to continue going and growing. The last and final thing is resilience. And resilience is really important because when you're growing, especially fast, it's really hard and it's uncomfortable. Like, no one likes change. So what is resilience? It's like a basketball. When you bounce it, it hits the ground, but then it comes back up again, even higher most of the time. So these are some ways that are going to help you be more resilient. Learn from your mistakes. And this is key because you're going to make a lot of them, and that's okay. Reframe challenges reflect, 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 rest. Self-care, which is different from resting. It can be something like cooking a nice dinner or going to the gym or hanging out with a friend. Celebrating progress, even the little wins, is really, really important. Seeking new perspectives. Staying positive. A bit of a cliche, but it can actually be pretty challenging when things are difficult. Set small goals, as I kind of mentioned earlier, and that'll help get you to the big ones. And then seek support, possibly from your friends, family, mentor. Now, I want to hear from you. Good, I already got some perspectives on here. From a scale from 1 to 5, how well do you feel you are practicing self-care? 3, so a lot of people seem pretty solidly in the middle. Nope, we went down to 2. Oh, 4, oh, this is great. I'm loving this. So it doesn't matter where you are on this scale. My homework for you is, if you're at a 5, I love that, that's excellent, just keep doing what you're doing. But if you're a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's okay. And I want you just to try to get to the next one. So if you're a 1, there's not pressure to get to a 5. Just try to do a 2. And that self-care and making sure that you take time for yourself is going to lend so much more to you when times are tough. All right, so I love key takeaways. We're nearly to the end. And as you know, these are my 6 golden nuggets of growth. The first one being luck, and essentially what I mean by that is making the most of the opportunities that are given to you. Like when someone asks if I want to have a Chewbacca on stage, you say yes. Say yes. Focus, having a clear guiding goal to inspire you to move forward. Cultivating mentorship, so having someone who can provide you with honest feedback on how you can grow. Becoming indispensable, doing your job, doing it well. Harnessing your strengths, do what you're good at, and that will bring you greatest satisfaction in life and at work. And then finally, being resilient. So when times get tough, just make sure to prioritize your self-care. As I said, these are my 6 golden nuggets of growth. And I know that if you even chose one of these golden nuggets of growth, that you would fly and you would grow in ways that you couldn't even imagine. So thank you so much.